Oh, we got some official channel readalongs, we got soft readalongs, and we got a few surprises to boot. Hey everyone, I'm Cahill with Shelf-Esteem, and this is my April 2025 TBR. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Cahill with Shelf-Esteem. I'm a composer, now also a booktuber. You can find my music in the Wheel of Time Season 2 and 3, His Dark Material Season 3, and the newly released Blessed Be the Eternal, the Edan Trilogy main theme for Philip Chase's wonderful series. So, I wanted to talk to you all a little bit about an April TBR. I like doing this. I always like doing TBRs a few days to a week ahead of time because some of these are read-along related. I want you all to be able to plan your schedules accordingly for those of you who are participating. And sidebar, you can participate by joining our Discord below and also the FABLE app, completely free and open for all. Just want to spread the positivity and love for reading and create a community to boot. So that's kind of the whole goal and impetus of, having these read-alongs. So that's also one of the reasons why I not only had an official channel read-along, but I also had some soft read-alongs based on people's preferences, what they wanted to read. And I figured, what's better than reading one series on the channel? 4, of course, duh. So if you like this kind of video, please like and subscribe. And now, on to the books. So, starting with the official channel read-along, we have been reading Malazan Book of the Fallen by Steven Erikson, the 10 big books of the main series. I personally absolutely loved Gardens of the Moon, and I loved even more Dead House Gate. So I'm very excited because we are embarking in April and May on Book 3, Memories of Ice. Now this book, interestingly enough, I didn't get too far into the first time I was reading it. Life kind of sidetracked me and I never really picked it up again. So I'm very excited to continue because I did like what I was reading. And it just became the case of, I had less fantasy experience at the time. And I really, this was like 5 years ago. So I'm very interested in revisiting this and seeing what I feel about it. But I'm also excited because I think we've been kind of taking our time with the series. We started Gardens of the Moon in January, then we had Dead House Gates in February and March. This will be April and May. So I'll try to get through, maybe half of it by the end of April and then the rest of it in May. I'm going to try to pace myself. I think with these types of books, just enjoying the ride and not trying to force it too much is always a surefire ticket for enjoying it. I feel like Dead House Gates ended up being what I feel like is going to become a high point of the series, especially the way it ended and kind of its meditation on PTSD and kind of what that does to people and the cyclical nature of war, and that even if you win, there are losers on both sides, right? So really, really harrowing stuff. I'm interested to see, because Dead House Gates was remarkably darker than Gardens of the Moon. I'm interested to see what happens here because this is supposed to have some of the same characters as Book 1. So Book 1 took place in a particular area. Book 2 takes place in a different area. And I believe Book 3 continues and picks up where the first one left off. So I'm interested to kind of revisit Whiskey Jack and some of the other crew in the Bridge Burners that I've missed. So this is the first book. If you want to join with us, of course, you're a couple books behind, but better late than never. You have plenty of time to catch up because we will be doing break months for each of these books from here on out, pretty much. So let's go to the next one. So the next one should be no surprise if you've been following along thus far, because I have been making my way very slowly through James Michener's Alaska. Historical fiction, in my opinion, at its finest. It talks not only about Alaska as a culture, the evolution of its people, but also the first humans who crossed the Bering Strait before it was called the Bering Strait almost 30,000 years ago in search of more food, ending up in Alaska. Now, of course, these are more anecdotal situations that are made up or embellished by James Michener, but you still get an idea of what it must have been like, how it felt like at that time, sub-zero temperatures, trying to make a life for your family, trying to take down woolly mammoths for food, looking at things from the POV of a woolly mammoth. So I'm a couple hundred pages into this now. Should be able to get through a couple more hundred before the month is up. This is March as of this taping. So I will try to, read a little bit more of this as I go. And I'm very excited to continue on because right now I'm in the 1700s, and we're kind of looking at the Russian side of things and Siberia and Bering crossing over into Alaska, and Bering Sea is named after him, the Bering Strait and such. So Really fascinating stuff. Highly recommend you check this out if you like historical fiction. Even if you don't, honestly, like, I haven't read very much historical fiction, so I don't know how this compares, but I watched Brian Lee Durfee's channel a lot, and he talks such praise about this book. It's always on his like top 10 books of all time and stuff. So this is definitely worth your read. The third book I want to talk about is actually contained in this beautiful, gigantic volume by Janny Wurts. So this is called Ships of Marior, but it actually includes 2 books. So we read Ships of Marior as a group in March. And so we are going to be reading the second half of this volume, which is called The Warhost of Vastmark. This is book 3. Now, I haven't gotten too far into book 2 yet, so some of that will spill over into April, of course. But I'm very excited because I am loving Lysair and Erathon's story. And I have gotten used to Janny Wurts' prose now, where I feel like I slow down deliberately and I'm just able to understand things on the first read through without having to reread anything, without having to kind of adjust my mind. So I can just really enjoy the story for what it is and the characters. She's really good at writing characters. So I'm excited for that and to experience and re-experience the beauty of her writing. So that is the next book I'm going to be reading. I think that's the third one I mentioned. Should look at my list, huh? Let's see. Yep, that's the third one. All right, so let's talk about the fourth one. So for those of you who know, part of the soft read along, we are reading Robert McCammon's Matthew Corbett series about a private investigator who works as a clerk for a magistrate in the year 1699 is where the first book Speaks a Nightbird takes place. There are 10 books total. We are making our way through that, and we are continuing on to book 3. Mr. Slaughter. So I looked at the back of this one and I wanted to read the description for you all, but I feel like anything will give it away. So I'm just going to say one thing, that it's the year now 1704. It's 5 years since the events of the first book. Matthew Corbett is working as a private investigator. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But you kind of saw Matthew Corbett grow quite a bit in the second book, and I feel like certain elements of his past got resolved, certain elements of his future became a little bit more uncertain the way the book left off. So I'm excited to dive back in because I love Robert McCammon. I don't think I've read a bad book by him, honestly. Like I read Swan Song, Boy's Life, Gone South, these 2 Matthew Corbett books. I think I read Stinger. And I've liked all of them. I've loved all of them. So I'm very excited to dip back into Matthew Corbett's world. And I'm very comfortably excited to make my way through this whole series. I'm so glad some of you are joining us. And for those of you who want to join, these books not only are spaced out accordingly, but they also get smaller over time. So I think these next entries are like 400 to 500 pages. Nothing too crazy. I always want to make sure that no matter what, this is not overwhelming for anybody. So that's kind of what I was thinking about that, but very excited to continue on that one. Are you all, by the way, continuing on any Matthew Corbett with me? I know Cliff from Cliff's Dark Gems definitely is. I know he loved that second book. So I know we'll be reading it together. I want to know if more of you are reading alongside, because yeah, it'll be fun to chat in the comments in the Discord as we always do. So let's look at the 5th book. The 5th book is one I am super excited for because I really, really loved both The Fall, the prequel novella for the Bound and the Broken, and Of Blood and Fire, book 1, which was supposed to be the weakest entry by Ryan Cahill, that I just recently finished in March. I read it in like 3 days. I was hooked. It was like a 600-page book, couldn't put it down. And it's interesting because that book was so familiar, it felt like Wheel of Time Part 2, you know, even some of the conventions of how the characters were chosen and everything. So it felt very much familiar territory, but it was just a blast. You know, Ryan Cahill knows how to write characters in a way that make them relatable. When certain characters were killed off and this kind of thing, I feel it like in a way viscerally. So it was really nice adventure to read that. I think Alicia is reading it alongside us, friend of the channel, and a few others as well. So let us know if you're down to join on this train, and we'll be reading Of Darkness and Light and continuing on the journey there. And the 6th and the last book is also the shortest one. So this one is called The Third Rule of Time Travel by Philip Fracassi. I haven't heard of Philip Fracassi until now. I just started seeing this particular book pop up all over Booktube, and I know my Mike's Book Reviews had read it recently and was pretty high on it. And he had read other Philip Fracassi. I think Boys in the Valley was another book he read. So I'm definitely going to be checking out a couple of his works, Boys in the Valley being one of them. But since Third Rule of Time Travel first came out just a few days ago as of this taping, so I really want to check that out as well. So let's talk a little bit about what that one's about. Rule 1, you can only travel to a point within your lifetime. Rule 2, you can only travel for 90 seconds. Rule 3, you can only observe. The rules cannot be broken. Scientist Beth Darlow has discovered the unimaginable. She's built a machine that allows human consciousness to travel through time to any point in the traveler's lifetime and relive moments of their life. An impossible breakthrough, but it's not perfect. The traveler has no way to interact with the past. They can only observe. After Beth's husband, Coulson, the co-creator of the machine, dies in a tragic car accident, Beth is left to raise Isabella, their only daughter, and continue the work they started. Mired in grief and threatened by her ruthless CEO, Beth pushes herself to the limit to prove the value of her technology. Then the impossible happens. Simply viewing personal history should not alter the present, but with each new observation she makes, her own timeline begins to warp. As her reality constantly shifts, Beth must solve the puzzles of her past, even if it means forsaking her future. Really, really interesting. It gives me kind of like Blake Crouch vibes, if any of you read Blake Crouch, Dark Matter, Recursion, Upgrade, fantastic recent entries of his. It kind of gives me a little Michael Crichton-esque vibes as well, technological, thriller, science-y, and I love that kind of stuff. It will be a really nice juxtaposition to all these other fantasy series, dense historical epics and things like that. So I wanted a counterpoint because I don't want to burn out. That's the main thing, is I want to keep this fun, keep it light, participate in all the read-alongs with you all, because you know what? That's the fun of it, is being able to have those discussions. And I look forward to so many more, you guys. So as I always like to say, I can blather on about the stuff I want to read, but what's more important to me and what I always love doing these videos for is to spark a discussion, a dialogue, a discourse. So I want to know from you, what are you planning on reading in April? Are you going to join any of these read-alongs? Are you looking forward to any of these? Any that I should move up and down on my list? Any that you're looking forward to that you would recommend to me? Because, of course, we all have insanely impossible TBRs that we're never going to complete in several lifetimes, but that doesn't stop us from adding more. So with that, I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other, everyone. I'm so looking forward to diving into some more great books with you, as always. And I'll see you on the next video. Take care.